I joined a secret club for cheaters only. When my husband found out, all hell broke loose.
Hey everyone on Reddit, my name's Tyler, and I guess this is where we spill the beans, right? The stories that are too real for our everyday fine thanks conversations? Well, buckle up, because here's mine. I'm a 40-year-old dude living in the tech-vibrant city of Austin, Texas. By day, I'm the brains behind some of the most talked about AI projects that you might have seen making the rounds on tech blogs. I'm talking code that's meant to make life easier, or at least that's the plan. My wife, Rachel, she's been the artsy type since the day I met her, now a freelance graphic designer with a keen eye for what makes things pop on a screen. Together, we've ridden the roller coaster that is the Austin scene, me with my app launch parties, her with gallery showings where the wine flows as freely as the critiques. We've had a good run for the past decade, our home often a mosaic of my tech gadgets and her vibrant canvases. But here's the kicker, folks, the reason why I'm hammering out my heart and soul into this keyboard. Rachel's been distant lately. I don't mean the busy with a deadline kind of distant, that I get. This is cold, almost like she's a hologram in our home. Her laughter doesn't ring as loud, her smile doesn't reach her eyes, and man, it's like pulling teeth to get her into bed. Not for sleep, mind you, but for the kind of midnight tango we used to dance without a second thought. Nowadays, there's always an excuse, a not tonight tie, or a I'm just not feeling it, followed by the turn of her back and the silent void expanding between us. At first, I figured it was just a phase, you know? Everyone gets the blues or a touch of the no libido flu. But then it stretched out, 1 week, 2 weeks. Heck, the calendar pages kept flipping, and my bed became as barren as Mars. I've always been the guy with a plan, a solution, a way to debug life like it's one of my programs. But this? Man, I felt like I'd hit a wall, and behind it was a Rachel I couldn't reach, locked away with secrets I couldn't fathom. So there I was, staring at our joint credit card statement like it was some kind of ancient script written in a lost language. Hey everyone. Unfortunately, basically everyone who is watching these videos isn't subscribed. It would mean the world to me to quickly get out of the full screen video for 3 seconds and press that subscribe button. It's free, and you can unsubscribe anytime. Sorry for bothering, and thank you so much if you subscribed. Charges from places we've never been to together started to dot the landscape of our bill. A fancy restaurant downtown, where, believe me, they serve steaks that cost more than a pair of my sneakers. A boutique hotel, that's the kind of place you'd take someone to say, hey, you're special, and not in the kind of way you'd expect a wife to be spending without her husband. And then there was Rachel, who'd become as secretive as a teenage girl with her first crush. Every time I walked into a room, I'd hear the click of her laptop slamming shut faster than the doors on a bank vault. Phone calls ended with the suddenness of a TV show canceled mid-season. She was whispering like she was plotting to steal the crown jewels. I mean, I'm not a jealous guy by nature. I'm the dude who's secure enough to say, yeah, she's mine, and not worry when she's out there being her fabulous self. But folks, my gut was screaming louder than fans at a rock concert, telling me something wasn't right. There's a line between trust and being a blind fool, and I felt like I was tightrope walking right over it. The trouble with gut feelings, though, is that you can't take them to court. You need cold, hard facts, evidence that would stand up and say, here's the truth, without a stutter. And I had nothing but whispers and shadows, the kind of stuff that would make anyone else say, Ty, you're just being paranoid. But come on, when your bedroom's gone ice cold and your wife is more mysterious than a spy movie, you tell me how you'd react. And let's not forget those hushed phone calls, like she's sharing secrets that could start World War III. So there I was in our local coffee shop, just a guy and his latte in the corner, the unofficial observer of the daily grind. That's when I caught a snippet of conversation that had my ears perking up like a hound on the scent. 2 guys in suits, and I'm not talking off-the-rack specials, were jabbering about some group that sounded like it stepped right out of a James Bond flick, specializing in discreet relationships for the married crowd. Now, I'm no eavesdropper by trade, but this was too much of a coincidence. What are the odds, right? So I did what any man desperate for answers would do. I sidled up, casual-like, and threw in a comment about the espresso that led to a chat about what's good around here. Before you know it, I'm pretending to be Mr. Interested and they're spilling the beans about secret signals. Here's the kicker. The secret handshake of this club? A black ring. Not just any ring, mind you, but one worn specifically on the right hand. A mark of the inner circle, a discreet bat signal for the cheating elite. I chuckled and played along, but inside, my heart was doing the kind of drum solo you'd pay good money to see. Later, back at the ranch, that's my less than homely home these days, I decided to do some late spring cleaning. And lo and behold, what should I find tucked away in Rachel's jewelry box behind some trinkets and baubles? A black ring, shiny and smug like it knew secrets it shouldn't. The same kind those suited-up 00 wannabes were talking about. So there it was, the piece of the puzzle that slapped me in the face with a cold "I told you so." It felt like a gut punch and an aha moment all rolled into one. There was my proof, not shouting, not whispering, but just sitting there silent and damning. So there I was, late one night, just mindlessly scrolling through Facebook to distract myself from the deafening silence in our bedroom. It's amazing what you find when you're not looking for anything, right? That's when I saw it, a suggested group hidden in plain sight among the ads. It was one of those private groups, but the name caught my eye. Austin's Discreet Meat. Curiosity's a beast, and mine was clawing its way out. I clicked. Denied access. It was members only. But the public description was enough. A discreet community for those seeking to add a spark back into their lives. Sparks. Right. The kind you get from rubbing two sticks together, or apparently, from sneaking around behind your partner's back. Then one evening, I'm charging Rachel's old tablet. You know, the one she stopped using after I gifted her a shiny new iPad. And there it was, the very same Austin's Discreet Meat Facebook group left open, staring at me from the screen. My Rachel, her name in the members list, as bold as you like. But that wasn't all, folks. Alongside the tablet, tucked away in her nightstand, was that black ring I'd read about in the group's posts, a symbol for members to recognize each other in the wild. It all clicked into place like a twisted puzzle. The late nights, the brushed-off advances, the mysterious expenses. I'm telling you, the feeling of betrayal is a gnawing animal that settles in your stomach and refuses to leave. You think you know someone, right? 10 years, and now she's a stranger with a double life that's just popped up like one of those annoying ads, except there's no little X to close this window. After finding the black ring and the not-so-innocent Facebook group on Rachel's tablet, I knew what I had to do. I couldn't just sit back and let this play out without getting the full picture. So your boy went full Mission Impossible mode. I started off by setting up a fake Facebook profile. Yeah, I know. Welcome to Catfish City, population, me. But desperate times call for desperate measures, right? I spent a couple hours making my alter ego believable. I borrowed a photo of a buddy from college who now lives overseas. Sorry, Dave, but you're Jameis now, an out-of-towner who's just moved to Austin. With James all set up, I sent a join request to Austin's Discreet Meat. While waiting for approval, I couldn't help feeling like I was crossing some line. But then I remembered that line had already been crossed, just not by me. A day later, and bingo, I'm in. The group was like an alternate universe, people chatting and planning meetups, all under the guise of discretion. And there it was, pinned at the top, an announcement for a masquerade-themed event. Perfect cover for anonymity and for me to slip in unnoticed. The event was in a few days. A masquerade ball at some ritzy joint that looked like it was straight out of a movie, where the rich and unfaithful play their games. Next step, getting a costume. I hit up a local costume shop and got myself decked out. I'm talking a full-on feathered Venetian mask and a cloak that would make Dracula envious. Rachel always liked those vampire movies, right? A cruel twist of irony there, but a costume wasn't enough. I needed a backstory in case anyone got chatty. James was now a successful entrepreneur who just moved from Atlanta and was looking to meet new people. Vague but believable. The plan was simple. Show up, blend in, observe, and maybe, just maybe, get the kind of proof I needed to confront Rachel without any room for excuses. So there I was, suited and booted in a getup that would make the Phantom of the Opera do a double take. I stepped into the masquerade event in San Antonio, a lavish affair oozing with opulence and the faint scent of secrets. My heart was keeping time like a drum roll, pounding away as I threaded through a tapestry of gowns and suits all hiding behind masks. I wasn't just in costume, I was in character. James, the out-of-towner, was on the prowl, but the real me, Tyler, was on a mission. I kept my head down and my eyes sharp, scanning the sea of deception for the one face I knew all too well. And then, like a lighthouse beam cutting through fog, I heard it. Rachel's laughter. It's funny, isn't it? How you can pick out the one laugh you've heard for a decade in a cacophony of mirth. There she was, draped in velvet, a mask adorned with jewels concealing her eyes but not her aura. She was with someone, a guy sporting a grin that I could spot as sleazy from a mile off. I edged closer, every step heavy with the weight of what I was about to do. They hadn't seen me yet, just another masked stranger among many. But as I neared, my heart was pounding like crazy. It was showtime. I slipped through the crowd, made it to their little bubble of betrayal, and stood there for a heartbeat. Rachel was in mid-conversation, a glass of champagne in one hand, her free hand resting on the guy's arm. I reached up, and with all the drama of the evening, I pulled off my mask. "Enjoying the party?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. The look on her face read it was like she'd seen a ghost. Her companion, Mr. Sleaze, looked like he was about to choke on his own Adam's apple. "Tyler!" Rachel gasped, the color draining from her face. "What? How?" There were a million things I wanted to say, a torrent of questions and accusations. But I just stood there, the raw truth hanging between us like a thundercloud. I won't lie, part of me enjoyed the shock on her face, the way her confident demeanor crumbled. But the other part? The part that had loved her, that had shared secrets and dreams and a decade of life? That part was broken, shards of trust piercing my chest. The room spun with whispers now, the masquerade's facade slipping as people started to notice the drama unfolding. I saw Rachel's eyes darting around, her world unraveling in public. After my grand unmasking, there I was, standing in the eye of the storm I'd just kicked up. The murmurs began to rise around us, the masquerade's melody turning to dissonant whispers as the crowd sensed the drama hotter than the latest gossip. Rachel, her mask now nothing more than a cheap prop, looked like a deer in headlights. Her mouth opened and closed, no sound coming out at first. And me. I felt the rage building, a tempest that had been gathering strength ever since I first smelled the stink of lies. Her companion, Mr. Tall, Dark, and has seen better days, he was trying to slink away, but I wasn't having any of that. I caught his arm and gave him a look that I hoped said, "You're part of this show too, buddy." Rachel's composure cracked, the facade fell, and there it was. All the lies spilling out of her like water from a broken dam. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she sobbed, her voice cracking. "It was just supposed to be fun, a game." A game? My marriage, our life, was a game to her? The crowd was eating it up, but I didn't care about the audience. This was between me and the woman I thought I knew. I stood there, clenching and unclenching my fists, the aggression pulsing through me. I wanted to shout, to break something, but I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me lose control. "You call breaking our vows fun?" I shot back, my voice low and menacing. I could feel the eyes on us, the weight of judgment, curiosity, and shock. But it was her eyes I was focused on, the ones that couldn't hold my gaze. The silence from her was the final nail. No excuses could bandage the wound she'd ripped open. No apologies could stitch up the trust she'd shredded. Just when I thought the drama peaked, the cheating club, Rachel's band of merry backstabbers, decided it was their turn in the spotlight. I was standing there, my rage just barely leashed, ready to give Rachel a piece of my mind that I could never take back when I felt hands on me. Strong grips, holding me back, as if I was the villain in their twisted play. "You need to calm down, man." One of the suit-wearing snakes hissed in my ear, his breath reeking of smugness and expensive cologne. Another, a guy whose face was too forgettable to be anything but a henchman, chimes in, "She needed someone who was there for her, bro. You weren't." I was seeing red. Every muscle in my body tensed up, ready to unleash the storm inside me. But I'm a thinker, see, a strategist. And I knew that any violence would only play right into their narrative, the unhinged husband, losing it while the poor, misunderstood wife weeps into her lace hanky. So, I did the next best thing. With the world around me blurred by fury, I pulled out my phone, switched on the camera, and started recording. Their faces, Rachel's tear-streaked makeup, the decor they were so proud of, all captured in high definition. "Say cheese," I growled, making sure to get a good sweep of the whole scene. The club members, or should I say co-conspirators, their faces shifted from smug to shocked faster than you can say privacy settings. Then I turned the camera on myself. "You see this? This is the face of a man who's done with lies, done with games, and sure as hell done with this exclusive club of infidelity." I could hear Rachel's protests, her feeble attempts at defending the indefensible. "Tyler, please, it's not what it looks like." But I was over it. I turned off the camera, pocketed my phone, and shook off the hands still clinging to me. "You all deserve each other," I spat out. No dramatic exit music, no slow motion walk. I just left, the chatter and chaos fading behind me. As I stepped out into the cool night air, the silence was deafening compared to the uproar I'd left behind. But it gave me space to think, to plan my next move. Because now I wasn't just going to lay down and let them walk over me. I had a video evidence of the exclusive club that wasn't so exclusive anymore. "Hey Reddit fam, Tyler here. If you've been following my not-so-little drama, get ready for the finale." Because when I said game change, I meant it. I posted the video. Yep, that's right. Hit upload and watched as those digital dominoes started to fall. Facebook's algorithm did its thing, and the views started climbing. It was wildfire, the kind that you see in those forest documentaries, unstoppable, blazing, absolute. But it wasn't just me in this. Austin's finest keyboard warriors, the good folks of the internet who still believe in right and wrong, they jumped in. Shares, comments, even a couple of those react videos where people watch it for the first time. Their faces, names, and their dirty little secret club. It all got dragged into the sunlight. Of course, Rachel was livid. My phone blew up with messages, missed calls, a symphony of notifications. "How could you? You've ruined us. Take it down, Tyler." But the thing was, she'd already done a bang-up job of ruining us all by herself. I didn't reply. What was there to say? Thanks for the memories and the lessons in betrayal? Nah, I just blocked her number. She'd become just another contact in the list, no different from a telemarketer or a spam bot. Now, don't think I came out of this unscathed. A guy doesn't go through something like this without some cuts and bruises on the inside. But here's the kicker. I also came out stronger, wiser, with a little more grit under my fingernails. I wasn't about to sit around nursing wounds and letting the moss grow under my feet. No, sir. It was time for a fresh start, a new chapter. So, I decided to learn cold approaches. You know, the art of walking up to a stranger and starting a conversation. No masks, no secrets, just me and my newfound boldness. It's not about finding the next Rachel. It's about finding Tyler again. The guy who can chat up someone new without an agenda. The guy who's not afraid to take a step forward, even if he's still brushing off the dust from a fall. So here I am, hitting the streets, coffee shops, parks, wherever life buzzes and real people show their faces without the need for a masquerade. And it's thrilling, like the first time you ride a bike without training wheels. A little wobbly, but damn, it feels good to be in control. I'm signing off now, Reddit. Thanks everyone for listening, and if you would subscribe to the channel, that would mean the world to me. Have a great rest of your day or night.
Hi guys, can you believe that my fiance left me and decided to run away with a football player? Yes, I got dumped by my own fiance. I used to love football very much, but now I guess that I'm no longer a fan of that sport. I can't believe that our engagement meant nothing to her the moment she saw a good-looking football player who made her fake promises. Does she really think he'll end up getting married to her? I was her safe zone, and I even started making plans to prepare for our wedding just for her to get up one day and leave me. This football player is quite famous and well known in the town I live in. He's not world famous or an A-list celebrity, so please take note. It's taking all my self-control and fear of getting sued to keep quiet and not calm him out. He's a coward, and she's a fool. Disgusting traitors. How could he steal someone else's fiancée? What an evil world we live in. Money, fame, and power seem to be the only relationship qualities some women are looking for. It makes no sense that an engaged woman would leave her fiancé just because she went in search of greener pastures. I plan on ruining their lives in such a way that they'll never forget my name. I plan on being their nightmares for the rest of their lives. I'm not going to let this go at all. I'm going to get the revenge I truly deserve, even if that means I might go down with them. My name is Maxwell, and I am a 27 years old business administrator. The name of my fiancée is Stacy, and she's a 27-year-old hairdresser. I'll be referring to the footballer she dumped me for as the footballer, so please take note. In 2022, I took my fiancée out to go watch your football game. I still remember that particular date, but I don't want to disclose the date for personal reasons. I'm trying my best to make sure that the identity of the football player remains secret, because people from my town might recognize him. If it was left to me, I would have revealed his identity. But I don't want to end up with a legal problem. I don't want to get sued for a woman that left me without a second thought. I took her to that football game with the intention of spending more time with her. Never would I have imagined that that was the beginning of the end of our engagement. I'm so furious right now as I write this because it's bringing back all the triggering memories. I cannot believe that a football game I paid for, including the tickets, is now what led to the end of my engagement. Stacy and I went to that stadium, and we were seated in the front room. There's this particular football player that she kept swooning over. I'm sure that I'm not the only one who finds it normal for women to crush over celebrities. I did not want to come off as insecure, so I left her to do our thing. This football player kept stealing glances at her during every halftime. I noticed it, and I definitely tried to bring Stacy's attention to it. I'm not the type of man that you can tell lies, and I would end up listening to it. Call me insecure, but immediately I noticed how he kept stealing glances at her. I made sure I told her not to look at him again. I am not insecure about saying that to her. That was just me demanding the respect I deserve. You can't come to a game with your fiancé and disrespect them right in front of a stranger. If the roles were reversed and I was in her position, I'm sure that I would be tagged the disrespectful guy who had no respect for his relationship. Despite my complaints and warnings, Stacy kept looking at him. They were even flirting with each other right before my eyes, and that was when I told Stacy to get up so we could leave the football game. Stacy refused to leave because the game was not yet over. I was very angry, and I told her that we would need to leave if she did not stop disrespecting me. The football player even had to be benched because of how unserious he was. That gave him an opportunity to have the time to steal more glasses at Stacy. I finally had it, and I was tired of watching them do that. I stood up and left my seat. I didn't even waste any time before going to my car. I was almost moving out of the stadium when Stacy ran towards me and got into the car with me. She told me she was sorry and that she was not going to do what she did again. I was not ready to listen to her, but she assured me that she was just having fun and being in the moment. I never thought that something was going on. After her apology, I forgot all about the encounter with the footballer. I didn't even think of him for once after that day because I thought that it was just a silly occurrence. I didn't know that this footballer was going to be the most important driving force in the end of my engagement. I really believe that Stacy deserves a standing ovation for how discreet and pretentious she was throughout her affair with the footballer. I didn't even know that they were talking to each other, talkless of having a full-blown affair behind my back. This life is really a place where we learn every day, and we find out that there is really more to people than meets the eye. Behind every mask a person wears is a disgusting personality and despicable character. I am not generalizing this. I am just saying that if everyone wore their minds and souls on their sleeves, there would be less beautiful people in the world. 2 weeks before Stacy ran off with her footballer lover, she became very agitated and annoying. I noticed that there was something wrong, and I immediately began to suspect she was having an affair. Even though I was suspicious of her activities and character, I didn't really believe that she would suddenly get up and run away. I mean, I did not see any passports, but I am not saying that she ran to another country. There were no signs that she was going to run away at all. I was literally giving an early Christmas gift because it had to be the shock of my life. When I noticed Stacy's suspicious movements, I decided to speak to her about it. "What is going on with you, and why are you suddenly acting this way?" I remember asking her. "You need to stop exaggerating and being paranoid. There is nothing going on, and I am just being myself." "Maybe you don't really know me," Stacy said to me. After hearing all this from her, I didn't just know she was cheating. I also knew that there was every possibility that the woman I was engaged to was someone I never imagined she was. I realized that she is a vicious woman with intentions that were never truly pure. Stacy started getting distant, and then I was very sure that she was cheating on me. I decided to start getting back all the money I spent on her before she suddenly decided to break up with me. Unfortunately for me, I was not fast enough because Stacy was literally a step ahead of me. She wasted no time before she got the perfect opportunity to run away with the footballer. Before Stacy ran away, she called me on a Friday morning and said she wanted us to have an important conversation. I thought she was going to talk about our damaged relationship, but I got the shock of my life. Stacy sat on the front porch with her legs crossed as she stared at nothing in particular. You guys want to believe how nervous I had been? I thought that there was something good that was going to happen. I didn't believe that she was actually planning to get back together with me. Even if she was planning to get back together with me, my plan was to fake accept it so that I could get back all the money I'd spent on her. Call me stingy, but no man wants to watch the woman he has sacrificed a lot for leave him just like that. I thought I was going to be 10 steps ahead of her, but Stacy ended up telling me that she wanted us to end our relationship. I don't think I want to stay engaged to you anymore. I think we have grown apart, and I want us to end this relationship. Those were the exact words Stacy said to me. I still remember those words because even as I write this, the phone I recorded the whole conversation in is right beside me. I am even playing it now so that I can get the correct account of what actually transpired. I had to record because I thought I would be the one that would be at the edge of the conversation. I clicked a record on my phone because I wanted to have evidence of how I was able to trick Stacy. But at the end of the day, I am the one who got tricked and dumped. What are you talking about? We have been engaged for 1 year and you know that we are waiting to get a house before you get married. Why do you suddenly want to end the engagement? I asked her because I was terrified. You guys needed to see how calm she was. I'm sure that she had rehearsed everything she wanted to say before she sat there like a boss in my own house and broke up an engagement that had been going on for over 1 year. Stacy did not care about all the things I had said to her. She stood up, looked me in the eye and said it was over, and that she had no plans of getting back together with me. Even though the truth was right before my eyes, I was ready to give her the benefit of doubt. I told her that we should just go to sleep and talk in the morning. Stacy did not give a reply. She just stomped into the house and pretended not to hear me talk. I don't know why I didn't see that as a sign that something was going to happen. I guess I underestimated how vicious she could be. Or maybe I just have this thing where I only see the best in people and do not really expect them to be fraudsters, liars, deceivers, and despicable human beings. She ran away with the footballer without speaking to me or even telling me that she was going to move out of the house. I'm literally itching to call his name, but I will not do that. I woke up on a Saturday morning to an empty house. When I say an empty house, believe me that it was really empty. I searched all around for her, but she was nowhere to be found. At first, I thought that she had probably gone to get some things from the grocery store, but I realized that she left the house hours later. All her things were gone from the closet. I know she already broke up with me before she left, and indirectly, I don't really have anything to say to her because we are no longer together. But what truly made me angry is the fact that she left with the engagement ring. I mean, if she did not want the relationship, she could have just left without taking anything that belonged to me. That engagement ring belongs to my grandmother. It has literally been passed from all my sisters to me. It is meant to be one only before the wedding, and I am supposed to return it immediately after the wedding. Apart from the fact that it is a family property, that ring is also quite pricey. My grandfather spent a lot of money on it. Even though the ring might not be able to buy a mansion or house, it is still quite a lot of money. My sisters have also spent a couple hundreds of dollars remodeling it, so I am really upset that Stacy had the audacity to leave the house with the ring. She practically stole from me after breaking up with me. I know you are now wondering how and why I am so sure that Stacy cheated on me with the footballer. I decided to investigate everything that happened after Stacy left. I spoke to a friend of mine and he promised to keep an eye on Stacy. I got some pictures a week later and the pictures contained images of Stacy and the footballer. I can't even tell you how surprised I had been. I recognized the footballer from seeing the pictures. That was what made me understand that Stacy had been in contact with the footballer after we left the game that day. The betrayal hit harder than I expected it to hit, and I vouched and promised myself that I was going to get back at them in a more disgusting way. That stupid footballer with no form of conscience has to be the most disgusting person I have ever met. Stacy is no better than him, and is just as stupid and vicious as he is. I made a decision to start the revenge in a very slow process. I want to get the facts right and know what is really going on before I start making the first move. I'll be making an update to this post soon, and in the meantime, please share all your comments with me. Update. I don't know who said revenge is not the sweetest key, but I really do think that getting revenge on Stacy is going to be the sweetest experience of my life. Not just her, a stupid football lover is going to get a taste of his own medicine. I have come to realize that Stacy is just a gold digger who is looking for the fastest way to become rich. She tried it with me, but when she saw someone who earned faster than me, she decided to dump me. I am not just going to get my ring back. I am going to embarrass them in such a way that they will remember me for life. Thanks to my friend, I was able to find out that Stacy and the footballer are currently living together. They go on secret dates together and she even attends his football games. Stacy works at a very strict company, and I will not call name of the company for security reasons. My first decision was to make sure she gets fired from the company. Her line of profession makes it very hard to get a job, especially when you were fired from your previous one. In order to get her fired, I decided to print out very demeaning things about her. But my friends talked to me and told me that that could be too extreme. We decided to use things that were more natural and could get her fired faster without leaving a trace. I still had some of Stacy's passwords, so I was able to log into her work group. I sent demeaning text messages which looked like Stacy was laying courses on her boss and accusing him of trying to sleep with her. It did not take more than 2 days before I got the news that Stacy had been fired from her job. I was so surprised and skeptical that I called my friend who worked at her company and asked if he was perfectly sure that she had been fired. My friend told me that the management of the company was so angry that they sent her a letter instead of firing her physically. I didn't feel any remorse. In fact, I felt very happy and elated to know that all my plans were finally coming together. That was just the first phase of my plan, and I knew I still had a lot of work to do. My plan was not just focus and Stacy. I also wanted to make sure that the footballer got what he deserved. Since Stacy was no longer working, she was indirectly a liability to him. My next decision was to get them ousted from the apartment they are currently living in. That part is really difficult because it is literally a residential area and the footballer is quite respected there. But I did not let that fact stop me from doing what I actually had in mind. I had made up my mind, and there was literally no stopping me. I had to speak to some of my friends so they could connect me with people who were experienced in doing that kind of thing. I was told that it was a very difficult task and that it would be quite hard to get them outside from that place. Apparently, the only way I could get them ousted from that place was when I was able to properly prove to the people living in that area that Stacy and the footballer posed a potential risk to them and were causing security problems. Of course, I didn't plan on doing any of that directly. It would be very hard to do that without letting them know of my plans. I had to spend days speaking to the people who were experienced in that line of work and asking them the best ways to make the people living in that area and the owners of the apartment believe that Stacy and the footballer posed security risks to them. It took time, but we were finally able to come up with something. I was told that I literally had to be patient because it was going to be hard to execute everything. So I had no choice than to carefully wait for everything to fall in place. I've been told that it might take up to 2 weeks to start making any progress, so I have to focus on other things for now. This is where today's update is going to end because I have a lot of work to do. I will keep you guys posted and updated and let you know how things go. Please don't forget to drop your comments because I'll be trying my best to reply to all the comments. See you all soon. Update 2. Whew. I'm honestly very exhausted right now because no one really told me that getting revenge was this hard. I mean, I thought it would be easy peasy and then I'll be done with this chapter of my life, but damn. I'm having more problems with actually executing it than thinking about it. When I was thinking about it, everything seemed like cake. It's funny how much our imagination really deceives us and makes us believe that everything is easy. Before I forget, I'm really grateful to all your comments and it's really been helpful. I've seen that some of you are really against my decision to get revenge. While I don't really agree with you guys, I'm grateful for your opinions and I appreciate every single comment I've gotten. I'm aware that putting my story up on this platform will obviously expose me to a lot of judgment. So, I don't take offense to any of the comments I've gotten so far. I believe that different people react to different situations in their own little way, and we all cannot have the same conflict resolution skills. My conflict resolution skills are more complicated and intentional, and I know that this cannot be the same with everyone else. Maybe when your fiancé cheats on you with a footballer and runs away with your engagement ring after dumping you, you can practice your own peaceful conflict resolution skills that are more human. Since I am the one currently in this situation, please bear with me and be kind with me as I go through this phase of my life. I promise that I am not planning anything too extreme. I do not plan on hurting anybody physically. I just really need to do this for me to be able to move on. This is my own version of closure. With all that being said and done, let me get you guys updated on what has been going on for the past few weeks. I know I promised an earlier update, but I was not able to keep that promise because a lot of things came up along the way. I think it's safe to say that I encountered a lot of difficulties in this journey to seek revenge. To be honest, there were times when I almost gave up. Emphasis on almost, because I never really gave up. So my friends and I were able to come to a particular resolution with the people we hired to get Stacy and the footballer ousted from their apartment. I don't really want to say how they planned to do it because I didn't even understand the things they said. But they assured me that they were going to do it in the legal way, and they assured me that there were not going to be any physical casualties. Well, they did keep their promises, and they didn't do anything too extreme. After 2 weeks of them making sure there was commotion in the apartment, I heard that the neighbors sent complaints to the caretakers of the estate. Apparently, the people I hired were able to make Stacy and the footballer do things that they would not usually do. I don't know if they list their drinks at a club. To be honest, I was not given the full information. One thing I do know is that whatever they did made Stacy and the footballer misbehave to a very extreme extent. It went on for weeks, and finally, they were told to go find another apartment because they were posing a security risk to their neighbors. To be honest, I made sure I had a good glass of whiskey the day I found out that all the efforts were not in vain. Of course, they were not particularly homeless. The footballer is rich and he has people that can help him. They rented a hotel immediately and they are currently staying there. My aim of getting them out of their apartment was not particularly just so they could not find a place to go. I am not stupid enough to think that the footballer did not have more than enough money to spend weeks in a luxurious hotel. I just wanted them to be shaken a little bit and start questioning if their relationship was a good idea. I also wanted to put a stain on the footballer's name because I knew that the neighbors would start talking and it would reach a lot of people. My calculations were not wrong because people started talking and the footballer even had to miss one of his games. I knew that the fact that he missed a game would make Stacy really angry. I also knew that teammates of the footballer would start asking questions. Even though I knew there was every possibility that everything I planned out was going to fall into place, I was not ready to bet something as serious as that on people's behavior. I did not want any casualties or sudden change of plans. So I decided to start the rumors myself. When I say the footballer is pretty well known, I'm not trying to say he's well known all around the world or globally. He's not a famous football or A-list celebrity. He's just quite known in town and is quite popular in our town. So please don't mistake him to be a world-famous footballer. I just don't want to mention his name because people from our town could recognize him. So I was able to start some rumors among his teammates, the crowd, and even among the coaches. I don't want to go to the extreme by revealing what the rumors are about. But I'll surely tell you that the rumors were enough to have his coach call him to order and ask him if the girl was a bad influence on me. The girl I'm referring to and the girl the coach was referring to is no other girl than Stacy. Before any of you come into the comments and accuse me of being too cruel, let me let you know how much of my life I have invested in Stacy. Even before we got engaged, I practically took care of her and her family. Do you think I just woke up one day and was pained by the end of the engagement? The reason I am so pained is because I know just how much I have gone through. Stacy and I have known each other for almost 10 years now, and I know just how many times she has come to me for help, and I helped her. We practically planned our lives together, and I even went as far as footing all the bills for her sister's declining health back then. I did not want to mention all these things at first because I am not really the type of person to brag about what I have done for someone. But as a result of the comments I had in which people judged me a lot, I had to stop this low and say just how much sacrifice I made for Stacy. Stacy even moved into my house and stopped paying rent at her apartment. She moved in with me long before we even got engaged. So now that I am trying to get revenge, just know it is because I know I deserve more than what and how she's treated me. I am sorry for deviating. It's time to get back to the main issue at hand. I heard from some of the people that were quite close to the footballer that he was having some issues in his team because of his association with Stacy. One thing you need to know about most upcoming footballers and football teams is that they rely deeply on their female fans and what people think about them. It is important to keep a good reputation and make sure that you do not do anything that will make the public cancel you, because it can have an effect on ticket sales and your popularity. It can also have an effect on the fans' desire to see you. This was the same case with the footballer because people had started talking as a result of the rumors that he was sent packing out of his previous apartment because of his behavior and how he posed a security risk. All these really made me happy because I also got to know that this development was causing quite some drama in the relationship between Stacy and the footballer. People were definitely talking and they were not happy with the way things were going. I also like the fact that Stacy's relationship with the footballer became public and she is known as his girlfriend. This is also part of my plan because the next phase of my plan involves shaming Stacy publicly and indirectly shaming the footballer too. I want to teach them such a lesson that will hurt them a lot. That footballer obviously saw me with Stacy and he knew that she was with me because when we were at the stadium that day, I made sure I kissed Stacy publicly because I thought that would be enough to make the footballer look away. The fool didn't even budge. He watched everything that was unfolding in front of him, yet he chose to do what I did. I'm also trying to teach Stacy that you cannot just wake up one day and throw away everything someone else has worked very hard for. If I was the one that decided to break up with Stacy after cheating on her with a complete stranger, even after all the money she had spent on me, I would be judged. It also makes no sense that Stacy would take the ring that means a lot to me with her. She just broke up with me without any explanation or reason, even after cheating on me. I'm getting my revenge legally and I'm really enjoying doing it. The next phase of my revenge plan will be the final one, and I really can't wait for all these to be over. Even though I've been enjoying this a lot, I can't deny the fact that getting revenge on another person makes you lose yourself a little bit too. Not that I am complaining because as far as I can make sure that Stacy and her footballer lover have the worst lives possible, I'm ready. I just want this phase to be over so I can properly move on. I'm tired of constantly talking about Stacy and planning what the next move will be. All I really want to do is make this process faster and speed it up as fast as I can. I already tried my best to reply to the previous comments. If I haven't replied to yours, please feel free to type again. It's not easy getting revenge, LOL, so please bear with me. Thank you all, and I'm truly grateful for your time. Update 3. Oh my goodness, what a crazy ride it has been. I am super happy that I was able to make some really crazy people doing this experience, LOL. You all have the funniest sense of humor and I'm literally here for it. If I was not the one who was cheated on and I stumbled upon this story, I'm sure I would have a good laugh too. But since I'm the one experiencing this crazy thing, I can assure you that it's not as funny as it sounds. I'm just trying my best to use humor to mask the level of anger and pain I feel. This is the third update and I am literally super happy that you all stood by me throughout all 3 updates. I can't believe it's been 3 updates full of revenge schemes and stories. I started writing this with a very heavy heart because the wound was still fresh back then. But now, I'm happy that all the plans, effort, and time I put into this was not in vain. I have gotten the results I wanted. It might not be as perfect as I planned it in my head, and I am honestly glad that it was not like that because the plan I had in my head was brutal, lol. But it is definitely better than it could have been if things went south. This is the last update, and I feel like popping champagne to celebrate it. Let me get straight into the story and tell you all how our final phase of revenge went. So, I was able to get out a story that obviously aimed at making Stacy's reputation go sour. The first trial went bad because we almost got caught. Our first trial was mainly aimed at publishing edited pictures of Stacy with the footballer's teammate, which suggested that Stacy was cheating on the footballer. We almost got caught while in the process of trying to put the pictures together and paste them in the team's locker room. That was a huge setback for us as we had to restructure after that. I am using plural because a lot of my friends helped me. They knew just how much time and energy and money I spent on Stacy, and they felt really bad for me. They were mostly the reason why I was able to get a lot of help. During the time when we decided to lay low, I heard that Stacy and the footballer were having issues, but I didn't really ask what was really going on. The reason I refused to ask or act like I was interested in their relationship is because I didn't want to raise any suspicions. I was fine with the little information I was able to get from the sources that were a little bit close to them. My aim was to get revenge, and everything had been working in my favor. Even if I had stopped, I wouldn't have a need to worry. After many days and weeks of strategizing, you were able to get pictures again and paste them in their local room. I got to know from a source who was at the stadium that day, but the pictures really caused a lot of commotion. The footballer and his teammate, who was in the picture with Stacy, got into a fight. The footballer really believed the pictures and thought that his teammate had betrayed him. I heard that it was a really bad fight and that it even attracted the coaches. After a lot of investigation, the teammate was finally able to prove his innocence. The footballer apologized to his teammate. Even though the case was cleared and everything was back to normal, the coach was not ready to forgive the footballer easily because he believed that he was slowing the team down with his negative energy. He was banned from playing in the next 5 games and was instructed not to come to practice. I heard that the coach intentionally did that so that the footballer will get serious again. Well, everything ended up working in my favor because the footballer got back to his hotel room and started a fight with Stacy. I know this because I booked a room at the hotel that same day because I knew that the footballer was going to come back from the stadium very angry. I didn't want to have any secondhand gists, and I wanted to hear everything with my own ears. That's the reason why I decided to be present when everything happened. I wasn't able to get really close since it's a hotel with a lot of security. I didn't want to leave her around and raise any suspicions. So I decided to lay low and wait outside in the lobby. The proof that the footballer went off on Stacy came barely 30 minutes after I waited in the lobby. Stacy was crying when she ran to the lobby with a duffel bag in hand. I assumed that the duffel bag was all that she was able to pack during the argument. I could tell that they had broken up because she was obviously leaving the hotel. I wasted no time before showing myself to Stacy. She was very shocked to see me, and I could tell that she started piecing the puzzle together. I didn't wait for her to stop ranting before I grabbed her hand and snatched the engagement ring from her fingers. It was still intact and she had not tampered with it. She was lucky that nothing happened to that ring because I was ready to sue her even if she just altered it. Stacy pointed an accusing finger at me and said, "So you are the one that did all these and made our life miserable? Just because I cheated on you? You guys don't know how happy I was to hear her finally accept that she cheated." I just smiled happily before telling her in my exact words, "You deserve it all." So guys, I left the hotel immediately because I no longer had any business with Stacy or the footballer. I'd exacted my revenge, and I made their lives a living hell. I'm sure that neither Stacy nor the footballer will ever forget me. I made Stacy lose her job and break up with the footballer she dumped me for. I also made the footballer lose the eligibility to play in 5 of his games, and I was able to ruin his reputation in our town. If you ask me, I think I did a pretty good job. That is all, guys. Thank you for all your comments and support. Finally, this chapter of my life is over. Bye, guys.